Hello, 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 everybody. We got ourselves a 5-player game on France, featuring me, funkdoc, Josh the funkdoc as always, psteinx, the legend. We got Daroj, another solid veteran player, and two of the newer people to come in, JVis and dougie. Dougie's one of the people who got into playing this because of watching my YouTube videos, apparently. He messaged me about that before he even started playing on here. But more recently, he's finally taken up the courage to take the plunge after watching enough of my videos on here. And glad to have dougie here. He's still very much learning a lot of things, but he can already take you out if you're not careful. As a matter of fact, earlier this morning, we had a 2-player game and dougie beat me by $1. I shit you not. So he's already doing well for himself. Okay. Question is, 5 or the 8? I think I'd go for the 5. I mean, granted, 17 is going to help block bigger plants from coming in on the next turn, but 17 is still worth buying on turn 2 for somebody. So that's not as bad of a blocking plant on France because of the cheap uranium on France compared to other maps. I think now I have to take the 8. dougie actually bid for the 5. I didn't quite expect that. Okay. Ooh, 31 in early. I don't like to see that even in 5-player. I don't like buying 31 that early in the game. Turn 2 is just way too early for it. You cripple yourself on money the rest of the game spending that much in a plant that you're not even going to use that turn. And yes, this is a new command, or not new, but it's a command I never knew about before in BSW that JVis just taught me about in this very game. It is the /doorbell command. You just do /doorbell space then on. So /doorbell on in BSW. And we get these notifications in here. JVis did not buy extra coal. That makes me happy. I didn't even notice that JVis only bought 2 coal. Normally, you always want to buy 4 coal for plant 4 there. So I got let off the hook a little bit. I got my 3 coal for less than $10. Powering 2 cities for less than $10 is really strong on this first turn of the game. So that makes me happy. Matter of fact, I only spend $1 more for coal than Daroj did because of me getting the cheaper stuff. Okay, there's another creative build from JVis. I get the idea behind this one, though. When you're building in the Aqua region here, like, crossing this bridge up north to break out of the corner is really expensive, so getting that out of the way now has a lot of value. dougie makes this interesting build. Oh, boy. I have a couple options now. I think the one for me... Basically, I have 2 options here. And notice how, with this being France, like, everybody gets a decent build. I have exactly enough to do Dijon-Lyon, and I think that might be the build for me. I can either do that or do Lyon-Grenoble and hope that Daroj doesn't build Dijon, but he might. I definitely want to build in here. I'd rather build in here than Brown, I think. Actually, wait, no, never mind. I see this build. This is the build, never mind. Yeah, okay, we do that build. Never mind. Gets me cheaper cities early in the game, and it puts me right next to Paris to potentially strike there in step 2. And just closer to like a lot of the cheaper stuff in the map in general. And yeah, that's a solid build by Daroj there. Dijon is not so urgent now because no one else is going to take it after him, so it's a reasonable, very reasonable build. And JVis needs to worry about locking up more of Aqua here before he thinks about trying to jump north. This all here should be his priority. Stein opens with a bid of 17 for plant 11. Somebody should bid more on it. I don't want to be that somebody. With me having the 8, I don't have such an urgent need for 11. Dougie or JVis should bid. I'm willing to think JVis will probably bid on this if no one else does. Jay tends to really go hard for the 11 on France. He loves that efficiency. Dougie does bid, though. Jay might still bid. Considering that, you know, if 17 shows up at this point, it's probably going to be bought, and 11 is much better for turn order than 17. So yeah, Jay bidding 19 here is very reasonable, with 11 just being a better overall plant than 17. Because of the lower number and thus better turn order tiebreaker. Oh, Stein gets screwed on this, and he has to buy a plant. Stein's probably going to buy 7 here, I think. The worst possible plant that could have dropped right there, the 14. Just 14 is like almost always like the worst plant in the game in general. Okay, no, Stein goes for the 9. I mean, it's either the 7 or the 9. Stein opts to go for longer term efficiency over short term buying a bunch of oil to power all 3 of his cities. This could be interesting to bid on. And with 24 coming in, the market is probably going to be slow next turn. I'm debating whether I bid on this, is what I'm saying. I'm not sure whether to bid on this. Jay is not really going to need coal this turn. Stein has no coal. I buy coal before Daroj. I'll pass because Dougie should bid on this. Dougie needs this plant a lot more than Daroj or I do. Yeah, I think Dougie should bid here. 16 is still a better plant than 17, I would say. And nothing else just for the turn order. There's the bid. I'm gonna pass. Dougie can take the 17 now. Let the two nuke players fight each other there. I mean, 17 is just the best buy for Dougie anyway, I think. Or maybe the 7. Actually, Dougie could take 7 instead. That's a possibility. 7 is much better for turn order than 17, so Dougie might go for that instead. Okay, there we go. That is, the more I thought about it, yeah, especially with the market being so slow and 16 haven't been bought, getting the 7 to just gobble up a bunch of cheap oil, that is definitely the better play, the more I think about it, compared to buying 17. 7 was the better buy because, yeah, look at how dependent these players are on oil. Stein got the cheap triple Paris build, which helps him a lot money-wise, getting 3 cities with all with a free connection. That helps him a lot in terms of money. Even though his plants don't look so good, he still gets a nice money advantage from the build. So attacking Stein is not bad, and also attacking Daroj, who has the best plant of anybody right now. Dougie arguably should have bid one more time for the 16 if he was willing to buy the 7. Arguably. The problem is that next turn, it's still going to be a little too early for the 24. So we could have a stalled market next turn here. The nice thing with this is we've already gotten through a lot of the big duds and gotten them at points where people would actually want to buy them. Like 16 and 17 in particular, those are plants that are... Like 17 on France is actually an acceptable plant to see on turn 2. Particularly in 5-player here, where uranium restock rate is already 2 per turn. I did not know JVis played poker. Talking about his winnings today in online poker, so hey. And 15, so this is actually good to see, because again, this is still easily early enough in the game that 15 will be bought. Now, it's a plant I'm not too happy to see, personally. That being said... I might bid on this. I might bid on this. Maybe. Not sure. I'm not really sure if this is wise. It makes sense for me to replace the 8, is my thinking. Hey! Well, that's lucky for me again. 17, the real plant of champions. Stein likes to give that title to 23, but nah. Cannot stand up to the power of the mighty 17 here. I'm okay getting 15 because keeping that plant out of somebody else's hands keeps coal cheaper for myself. Like 15 is it's a very natural upgrade from the 8. It's a much bigger upgrade over the 8 than it is over the 10. Dougie actually bids for 18. This is a tough enough spot, though, that Stein might... No. Well, then, okay. Well, at least... Okay, these guys can bid for this, at least. Although JVis might not touch it. Stein might get this at cost, because JVis in general tends to be very afraid of the 20. Now, in a 5-player game... I think 20 is still worth bidding a little bit, even this early, because that early capacity has more value in a 5-player game. Watch Jay's probably going to bid for this now. Never mind. Well, that's right. Daroj has to build to use the 16, so he kind of doesn't. He doesn't really have the money to bid for 22. So Jay passes on that as well. Okay. All right. I forgot to mark off a 20. That was a much more eventful turn than I expected. Problem is, Stein getting 20 at cost. I have to imagine that's just objectively a much better deal for me. I think what I'm going to do for my build this turn, since I'm only going to build one more city, I think the play for me will be to build Reims, really fence Stein in, and I would hopefully maybe... Well, we'll see if Stein... Like, we'll see if Dougie leaves tours open. I don't know if he will, but... Okay. Yeah, I'll double stock the coal here. I think that's the play, because JVis is still going to want to buy a coal here, I think, yeah. Because Jay wants to build a 3 and run that 4. He already had 1 coal sitting in the 4, so he might as well buy another so he can actually run that plant this turn. And then Stein's going to want to buy a bunch of coal, because he's going to be stuck probably up at the top of the turn order. So, yeah. In retrospect... maybe 20 won't be the value that I thought it would be. This is interesting now. Because now I'm actually in a really good position to bid for 22 in the next turn. Anyway, I build Reims. Stein is going to be in a rough spot for builds. The nice thing is I'll be below both Stein and Dougie in the turn order for next turn, which is good. Those are my closest competitors for builds. I have the lower plant number compared to both of them. And Stein does not build. Okay, cool. So my Reims build must have done the damage there. All right, 35 out, 38 in. Okay. I don't think I bid for this, to be honest, because, well, no, I mean, I'm actually pretty low in the turn order, lower than I expected. Okay, I don't need to bid for 22. Because there's so few duds left in the deck, it's really just 12 and 23, and then to an extent 27. 27's still okay. Also, I'll bet dollars to donuts Jay's going to bid for 22 here. Jay always does this. Maybe Jay will see that he's bottom, though, and he can fish for a better plant and not fall for this one. So, okay, Jay does the right thing, but unfortunately gets dicked. That's not good news for the rest of us. Oh man, that was one of the only 2 plants that could come that could potentially stall the auction for this turn. I mean, I'm willing to bet JVis probably buys 23 if we all pass this. He's at the point now where he can definitely use it. He could probably like build out to 5 and just use his 2 nuclear plants. Okay, Dougie goes for the 23. Cool. All right, so we get a chance for good plants now. Yay. There's 24. 42. Really? Now I have to think. I'm going to risk dropping something big for JVis, is the issue. But I'll have just barely enough money to get this and build a 4th city. Do I want to sacrifice my turn order for that? When I don't get much of a benefit from it this turn. I'm actually going to do this. You got 24, Jay. Congratulations. I think if I stay patient for one more turn here, because I'll still make pretty good money with the 15, and I'm not going to buy any more coal this turn, is my plan. Because I'm not going to benefit that much from buying 24 this turn. It only gets me 1 extra city worth of power, plus I'll have this extra coal that I won't be using that I have to figure out what to do with. I think for me, just staying at 3 cities this turn would be better. I mean, it'll give Stein options to jump me, but I have so many places I can build that I should be okay. What? What? Jay bought 14 over 24. And that was intentional, he says. I don't mind this. Sure. I'm not complaining about this. I like JVis though. He's always got the creative plays here. Here he was focusing on playing the turn order game because I think he just wants to not build and he wants to stay below me in the turn order. That's what he's thinking here. Interesting. I get where JVis is coming from with this idea. I think he just doesn't fully understand like how capacity works in 5-player, knowing that a 4 capacity plant is very easily kept for the entire game in 5-player, because you only need 15 cities to end the game. Jay again with the creative plays. He is expanding north and east. Interesting play. Chamonix is not one I would think about, but he's trying to block every which way for Daroj to jump south. It's an interesting play. Yeah, I'm not going to build. I'd rather just burn this coal now so I can make more money off of that, and then I'll have more cash to plan my move for next turn and should get some better plans. Hopefully I'll land a 5. That's what I'm thinking about. If we can get like 25 or 26 to show up, especially 26, I'd be going for that. Okay, now I might have a problem for builds. Although Stein is going to stay here. Like, Stein's just not even buying coal at all, so I don't think he'll build. I mean, I am taking a decent risk here not building this turn. Okay. So hopefully Stein doesn't jump into here, then I can get this next turn at least. As long as I can carve out 5 cities in this area, I'm satisfied with that. And Stein doesn't build, he wants to play the turn order game. He's going to be second from bottom, and I'm going to be the bottom, which is beautiful for me. This is what I was looking for, because we've gotten through almost all the bad plants in the deck, so we should be able to get big stuff next turn. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm guaranteed first build. And I can get up to 6 cities if I want them. Perfectly normal stuff here. That 14 in the game is going to make 24 a lot less attractive. Plus, we know 30 is going to come at some point. Again, remember that in 5 and 6 player games, we use the entire deck of power plants. We don't randomly remove any of them like we do in 4 player and smaller games. We know 30 is going to come at some point, and because we've gotten through so many, almost all the low plants, 30 will be available before step 3. I guarantee it. Well, I guess it's not 100% guarantee, but almost at this point. Anyway, I'll gladly bid for 29. I'm expecting this to go for like 40-ish. Maybe even more depending. Okay. Hey! Just what we all wanted. Daroj passes, which I like. I think Dougie will probably pass too. He still needs to build 1 to get full use out of his green plants. Plus, he still has resources sitting on the 5 there that he needs to burn. So I'm thinking, yeah, it doesn't make sense for Dougie to buy 24 here. Nor JVis, I think. Maybe JVis buys 24 now to replace 14, but eh. I think he'd rather just stick with the 14, stay where he's at, and play the turn order game. Like, if he was going to buy 14 over 24 for turn order, I mean, we're in the same situation now with him having a chance to buy 24, so it wouldn't make sense for him to abandon that plan now if that's what he was going to do last turn. And he knows that Stein, and with Stein being last in the turn order, I think he really doesn't want to drop Stein a plant. Stein already got 20 at cost, and coal has gotten pretty cheap. Yeah, there we go. Everybody passes. This is exactly what I was looking for now. All right. All right. So yeah, That was stupidly lucky for me that 12 came immediately after the 20 after I bid for 29 and won it. It's insanely lucky for me that I just crushed that auction because of that. Total luck. That was like the one and only major dud left in the deck. Like even 18 probably still would have been bought at this point. 27 certainly would have been bought had that dropped. And those were like after 12, like 18 and then 27 were the worst plants left at this point. 12 is a whole nother level of garbage from those. I'm just going to stockpile the coal and the 15 for later, I think is my play. I don't want to let coal get too cheap for Stein to grab some in the 20. I'll do that now. That's the city more immediately under attack. Stein could potentially jump here later, but I don't need more than 4 cities now. And like, it doesn't really... Stein's would be in an awkward spot if he were to jump for a build because he's not in a position to get more than 5 cities. So it would be awkward for him because if he were to like get to 5 cities, he would pout and run the 20. Like he would get no use out of his green plant in that case. Little surprise JVis built. These builds here are working out really unusually. Like the player starting in the south to be all the way up to here in step 1 is pretty unheard of. Unusual building route by JVis. Also kind of unusual, although Daroj's is a little more common, and it makes more sense to get you closer to Paris. Like, I mean, Daroj building like these two up here, that makes some sense. Like, I'm taking Le Havre over Lille because this city does more for me step 2 as a potential gateway down into the cheap stuff here. And Daroj now breaks the stall. Okay. I missed the other plant that came in when step 2 is triggered. It doesn't show it on the market yet here. It only shows the plant that we got after building 7 out of the game. But yeah, that was definitely the right move by Daroj to trigger step 2 when he did. He was stuck high up in the turn order with pretty kind of weak plants for this point. Pretty darn weak plants, actually. Like 10 is not something you still want to have to run at this stage. Oh my god, 34 actually came. Oh, what the heck is this? What I could do... I could go for 31 here, actually. I mean, I'm still going to bid for 34, of course. I'll bid a little bit for this. With there being 3 other nuclear plants out there in use right now, I'm not as hot on 34 as I normally would be before step 3. But we get 3 uranium coming back into the game per turn, so it's still going to stay cheap. This is still worth some bidding for sure. With me having that extra coal store, though, that kind of tips me more toward 31. Or 36 if that were to come. We have exactly 1 plant left in the game that can come that would put 36 in the market. I want to drive it. I got caught. I got caught being greedy. Womp womp. I tried to drive up the cost of 34 more for Daroj. I was thinking like he might feel the need to pay 45 for it. Yeah, but that didn't happen. So I feel like my chances of winning this game are pretty much non-existent now. I got caught trying to drive up a plant for someone else, and I shouldn't have done that. I tend to get very aggressive with that sort of thing. Like, I have this, like, set value in my mind of what a plant should go for, and I feel like I have to police other people on that plant. If nobody else will do it, I feel like I have to do it. Like, I have to make sure that you pay at least 45 bucks for that 34 plant there. And that got me. I should have been able, like, when Daroj hesitated that first time there toward the end, that should have been my cue to stop. Cannot help but feel like this has screwed me. Because these people are going to get other plants cheaper. Yeah, this was stupid of me to bid. I should have... God, I should have given this up more around 40 or so. The 34, I mean. I mean, I do have a hyper-efficient setup here. You know, should this game make it to step 3, but I have a feeling it... Well, no, it probably will. Problem is 30 is... Well, I guess with the trash plant already in use... Well, no, actually... 14 is probably not going to be in use anymore. 24 might get bought, though. Well, maybe not this turn, but... Yeah. $30 should get bid decently, at least. These 6 plants are going for so little right now. I'm so dead. Paying so much for 34 compared to these 6 capacity plants. Yeah, that's just... Ugh. I done screwed the pooch on this one. I actually felt like I was doing alright in this game up until that point. Well, Dougie's clearly going to put 32 up for bid. Now the problem is... Well, no, actually he can just replace 17. I hope he does that. He sees the coals sitting on the 5 and just... There we go, yeah. That gets a nuke plant out of the game, so that's good news for me, at least. Okay. Stein gets tight that I bought extra coal to attack his 20. It's just with these other people all getting these plants so cheap, I feel like, and given how expensive coal's getting, I can't help but feel like Stein is well behind in this game right now. But he does have money, though. I mean, he had the money to build there at least. Like, I'm only going to be able to build to 5 this turn, but long-term efficiency should favor me. I'm obviously going to go into Paris here. The nice thing is I don't think anyone else would get into Paris, because I should be able to stay bottom this turn. Because JVis is quite far away from Paris. Daroj already has more cities than me. Also, the way these resources are going, maybe my 34 might be justified in the long run. This game is getting a little interesting now. Stein really needs 26 right now, although 21 is also okay for Stein in this spot. JVis builds 1. Okay. Daroj can afford an 8th city. That's interesting. He might have the lead in this game right now. Dougie overbuying everything is pretty funny. I don't, the uranium overbuy, that was just weird. 39 is out. 40 in, so now we know for a fact that 36 is not gonna come into the game before step 3. Stein is kind of in an awkward spot with him having the 20 and being high up in the turn order. I don't think Stein wants 25. Ooh. I think I can do this, right? Shit, no. I have to buy uranium to do that. I need to think about this here. Alright, let me think about this. I don't think I want to build into Daroj. It leaves me $1 short. Another nuclear plant. That I did not want to see. Stein, I'm sure, buys it now. Yeah, Daroj get 25 at cost is pretty good. Cole should get easily jacked up, though. Okay, let me do this. Here's what I need to do. I'm obviously not going to buy anything. Okay. It's interesting that Daroj seems to have the lead now. He did get 30 awfully cheap and 25 at cost, which is interesting. That 16 turned out to have a good amount of long-term value for Daroj. Stein is very big on using table talk to try to direct people to attack someone. Problem with me is this. Okay. Yeah, there's just no way for me to get to 9 this turn, so I think I just have to take 8. Okay. I'll take the jump here. It's $4 more than the Le Mans bill, but I get more connections this way. Stein, I think, is playing this right by staying patient. Dougie not doing half bad. Can finally burn some of that uranium. JVis actually using the 14. How about that? Stein wisely staying bottom. Yo, Jay. Yo, J dog. Jay. What are you doing, Jay? Anyway, what I was saying about Stein earlier, Stein, I think, is playing this smart by waiting for the 26. That's what Stein's looking for here. 26 is the plant that Stein really needs. And the market's going to slow down a little this turn with that happening. $18 still yet to come as well. I like what Jay's doing here. Makes sense, has trash stored on the 14. And sure enough, there's 18, so now the market slows down. The situation I'm in is, it doesn't make sense for me to buy a 4 capacity plant next turn when Daroj would likely be able to end the game. Because buying a 4 only gets me up to 13 total capacity. And Daroj already has 14. Okay, this is interesting now. But yeah. I think Stein could have passed there and just stay bottom. Because he'd be very likely... he could get 26 next turn. Stein could. It's funny to think of how long ago it was that I had just assumed that 24 was going to be bought at cost. And now think about how long it took to replace the 14 that JVis bought instead with 24 that stuck around all this time. It's one of those things where, like, I like that JVis is thinking about that kind of stuff with the turn order, but that was overthinking it by a good bit there. In retrospect, just should have just taken 24, of course. Much earlier in the game. And we can't block Daroj because Daroj is over in the south, is the problem. I think I just pass and stay bottom. I think that's what I do here. The issue is that realistically, Daroj is probably going to win next turn. Because we're not going to get to the step 3 auction. There's no plans to build out of the game, I mean. Now, what'll be interesting is 26 is going to come in next turn. We know it's going to be bought. Step 3 card will come next. Question is, the problem is the way things are set up here, people are not really going to be interested in buying the 33. Well, JVis could buy 33 to try to, you know, at least stop the game from ending. Stein still has reason to bid for this. It improves his base capacity, at least. He go from 5-4 to 5-5. Same thing with me. Nope, Stein passes. Okay. I'm bottom in the turn order, so since Jay clearly has to fight for this plant, I'll let him do that. We know that 28 is going to be next, then 33. And then after that, step 3 card is going to put 28 on. Then 44 is going to bring 33 on. Then 36 will actually come next after that. Depending on how this auction goes, I could have a chance at 36. That's the plant that I would be eyeing here. All right, well, made Jay pay for the 26 at least. Daroj, oh, okay, so Daroj is going to end the game now. All right. All right. All it's going to take is one more person buying a plant here, because we know that 44 is going to come up next. So this is kind of a bug in BSW. If the step 3 card is drawn during the auction and you buy more plants after that, the step 3 deck is not reshuffled. The plants come out in the order in which they went under the deck. So since 44 went under the deck first, I know that's going to be the next one to come. Question is, does Dougie buy the 33? He might. In which case, all my coal stocking will be justified. Yep, interesting choice. What does Dougie do? God damn it. Yeah. The game's going to end this turn, though. So it looks like it's going to be technically third place for me. So I'm going to have to make what are the best builds I can make to target both Daroj and JVis? Well, unfortunately, Jay has this stuff open. This, though, helps Daroj me building into him. This is tough. This be tough. Definitely build into Stein, that's for sure. Building into Stein and Dougie is a pro move. IMO. Yeah, that's the problem. We just don't, nobody else really built into this area. And like, I recognized early on that Daroj was in a good position, so I didn't want to build into this stuff. I didn't want to build into his cities. I wanted to try to block him. But unfortunately, these guys all have like the frickin' this whole entire east coast of the map to themselves. Just those two. That's the issue there. JVis looking at builds. Question for Jay is, does he have 4 cities here? I mean, he does have decently priced ones. He has like Nice, Lyon, Mulhouse, Strasbourg. And that's all he's got. Okay. Yep, Daroj wins easy. As expected. That was interesting, because Daroj, he didn't get good plants in step 1. He just got a lot of open space and building. Which, maybe I should have done that instead of my build. I guess, I mean, the more I think about it, yeah, Daroj's build was probably better than mine. Just more open space, access to the south. Dougie was rich, dang. All right. Big congrats to Daroj. He's been doing pretty well in the recorded games in this channel. Good stuff. And with that, see you later.